In this video, I want to take a look at working with the text tools and some of the text functions. And as you can see on this worksheet, I've just imported a plain text file, and I'm going to clean up this file just a little bit, or scrub it. And the first thing I want to do is to eliminate any duplicate records there are in this somewhat long table. So on the Data tab in the Data Tools group, I'm going to click on Remove Duplicates. And it assumes that it is this range that I want to work with. I am going to, however, click Unselect All, and what that does is remove check marks from these columns. So the two columns that I want it to check for duplicate records are column A and column B, which are the ID numbers. I'll click OK, and it tells me that 4 duplicate values were found and removed, and 46 unique remain. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So the first thing that I want to do is clean up these ID numbers here in column B. And specifically what I want to do is get rid of that first hyphen. So to do that, I'm going to use the substitute function. And I'm going to start out by inserting a new column in column C. So I'm going to insert sheet column, so I have a blank column to work in, because I need a blank column for the results of my function. And then I'm going to go to the Formulas tab, to the function library, to the text functions. And the first function I'm going to use is substitute. And what substitute allows me to do is replace old text with new text. So the first argument, text, this refers to the cell that I want to work with, which would be B1. The old text that I want to change or substitute for is the hyphen. The new text, I don't need anything in that argument because I don't want anything to replace the hyphen. Instant number specifies which occurrence of the old text I want to replace. So there are 2 hyphens in the entries in column B. I want to replace that first hyphen, so I'm going to type a 1. And here's a preview of what I'm going to get as a result of that function. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and then copy those down. Another thing that you might want to do when you import data or when you get a workbook from someone else that's been created by someone else is to take text that's in all caps and put it in an entry with just initial caps. And so to do that, we're going to use the proper function. And the proper function is kind of like the change case button in Word, where you can choose to put things in sentence case with just an initial capital letter. So again, working in F1, I'm going to go back to the text functions and find the proper function. And there's just one argument for the proper function, and that would be D1 in this case. And then I would click OK, and it takes the word Michael's and translates translates it from all caps into just an initial cap. I'm going to go ahead and copy that down, and I'm going to copy over, and so I have converted the first and last names from all caps to just initial caps. Sometimes you might want the first and last name to be just one entry in a spreadsheet, and to do that, to combine those two different cells, F1 and G1, into one cell entry, I'm going to use concatenate. And so I'm going to click in H1 and go back to the text functions in the function library and choose concatenate. And the first text for concatenate is the last name. Probably doing this backwards. Yeah, I am. Actually, I want to do first name, last name. So I'm going to G1, and then one might assume I would do F1 next. But if you look at the preview, you'll see that it's entering it as Mildred Michaels with no space. So there's something else that I need to do there. So in text 2, I actually need to put in that space. I'm going to press the space bar once, and I'm going to click in the text 3 argument and click on F1. And now you can see in the preview that it's showing a space between Mildred and Michaels. Now you can also do concatenation with the concatenation operator, which is the ampersand sign on your keyboard. And I'm going to demonstrate that as well, even though it's not in your textbook, and I think that will help you to better understand why I needed that text2 argument with just the space. So to do that, I'm going to start out with an equal sign. I'm going to click on Jonathan in G2. Then I'm going to type the ampersand, which is the concatenation operator. To leave a blank space, I'm going to type a quote, press the space bar, type another quote. Then I need to put in another concatenation operator, and then I will click on F2. And I get the same result as I did using the concatenation function. And hopefully that kind of demonstrates why you need that space in the one argument in the concatenation function. And then I would go ahead and copy this down. If I were actually cleaning up this workbook, I would probably go ahead and convert this column with the substitute formula. I would add another column and then copy that and paste it as a value, and then delete the original columns to clean up the workbook. For our purposes, I'm just going to hide columns D through G. So I'm left with only the column that column where we combine the last first and last name. So those are just some of the text functions. There are others. I do want to go back to the Data tab and show you if For example, I received this workbook like this and I did not want the first and last name combined. I can use the text to columns command in the data tools to separate those two, the first and last name, into two separate columns. And those are some of the text commands and some of the text functions.